Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from the land of lakes, the state of Michigan. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Tuesday's Bhagavatam class. And welcome from Michigan. Kaustubha's live in Columbia. We're trying our best to make it happen. I'm on a road trip. I got 10 hours more to drive. I've been driving since 4 a.m., listening to Bhagavatam classes, listen to a Christian sermon. I tell you, Amarendra. I listened to that class. He's going to be on the show this Sunday. Amarendra might be a pure devotee.
Yeah,
he might be a pure devotee. I was talking to Mara before the show. Listen, he's one of those very undented people. He's just sort of like fixed in wisdom from childhood. He's sort of childlike. He knows the Bhagavatam like inside and out. I just sit there fascinated.
We were doing other things with our youth. And
we were breaking things, hurting people, preparing to hurt other people. Yeah, we were a little damaged, and we're trying to resurrect ourselves. You're doing good, by the way. I'm working on it. You're doing very good. I'm working on it. I'm trying to we're in this is like spiritual rehab. What's going on? We're like in body shops, You're pretty good. You're just putting the paint on right now. I'm still getting out I need like whole new axles. The engine's got to be overhauled. The body's a mess. The body's a wreck. And seat cushions torn up.
That's what dented can repair yoga. Right?
Yeah, that's what Luke Carmen. I'm going to see Luke Carmen this weekend too. I'm heading to New Jersey. If anyone's going out in South Jersey, I'm going to be at Yoga Bohemia this weekend. Me and my good buddy Manu. Check out their website, Yoga Bohemia. We're doing Kirtan Sunday night. Very excited about that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm on a road trip. Got a day off tomorrow, and I'm going to hit the road back to Jersey and bring the kids down to the shore. My daughter is going to stay in the ashram in Laguna Beach for 2 weeks with Tukaram.
That's great. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? Sending my daughter off to the ashram.
It's kind of a laid-back ashram. It's kind of California beach ashram.
Nothing's laid back when you're hanging with Tukaram. You know that. Nothing's laid back.
It's laid back in a different way.
It's laid back.
Okay. That's true.
Yeah, but it is sort of on the beach. Mara, I think you should maybe go too. I think you need a little train up Mara in the ashram.
I would love to. I'm a little terrified of Tukaram still. But...
Yeah. Can you find another beach ashram?
Send you to the Shivananda ashram in the Bahamas. They won't chastise you.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is hot out. I'm sitting in this car. I got 2 sleeping kids. I let the kids stay up till 3 a.m. last night to watch movies so they could just sleep in the car today. Was that good parenting or not?
All right. It sounds unorthodox, but let's go with it.
Neither of them are smoking marijuana yet, so I'm happy about that. Right? You're not, right? I'm just checking the 14-year-old.
Tell me the truth.
I want the. He's not. He wouldn't. This guy's. Although you never know. It's not like they're gonna like.
What about Rooney?
Rooney might be a 7-year-old. He's a little wild. All right. Well, I have nothing really else to say.
That you wanted?
I did have a nugget. I did have a nugget. When you see things with the eyes of love, you look out for people. Is that true? When you see things with
Hold it. That's the nugget.
Listen to me. There's more to the nugget. You have 50% of the nugget. When you look through the vision, the Vishnu goggles, when you're looking out with a lens of love, you look out for people. When you look through the lens of materialism, which is the lens of fear, you look out for people. Get it?
Yeah.
Love means you look out for people.
So.
And fear means you look out for people. Now, someone might argue, and Mara brought up this argument because I tested the nugget on her today. She said, well, what about people who are actually out to get you? You still look out for them.
Look out for them.
You'll care about them. You actually care about them. A person practicing Vaishnavism, they don't have enemies. They're not having resentment. They're not getting, they might have their feelings hurt and they get over it and they realize, oh, this is my karma and I'm going to look out for people. It's not in our, it's not in our,
or we're going to say DNA or something like that.
No, I don't know. Programming. It's not the proper programming for a person practicing bhakti. We don't have enemies. Right. If I have an enemy, I've got a problem. If I have an enemy, I've got a problem. I can't let that sit and still try to be a card-carrying devotee of Krishna. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
Well, that's there in in our Shastra. And of course, we have Vidur here. He had no enemies. We got Yudhishthir, who's known as Ajatashatru. He had no enemies.
Well,
the mind won't be peaceful, and really, yeah. I was going to say the mind. The mind won't be peaceful when we think like that. But the reason why the mind won't be peaceful is because that what's the word I'm looking for? That discord in the mind, or that dissonance in the mind when you see people as your enemy. It's meant to feel bad because it's unhealthy, and the yogi's turning away from that. Even if they feel justified, they start to let go of that. They kind of, with humility, we understand that the kind of behaviors that I'm up against, I've behaved in all those ways myself, right? If not, even if I'm not doing it right now, I've done it in the past. If I haven't done it in this life, I've done it in a previous life. I've done, we're all going through all these different transformations, and I'm not going to hold it against anyone. That's when yoga starts to open up. You got to start to think like that.
It's what we call ourselves. And that's why I always push this idea of we got to start calling ourselves I am a pure spirit soul. I'm a pure spirit soul. Once we start renaming what we are, hey, Mara, what are you about? If people meet you on the street, Mara, what do you say? Who are you? No, you're not a chef. No, you're not the highest paid chef in Columbia County. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear about your great accolades. We don't want to hear about the private school training you have to be like one of the most brilliant what was your score in the SAT? It was like topping the state champion. We don't care that you were the captain of the girls' field hockey team. We want to know who you are. And Mara, underneath all the recognition you get and all those trophies on the shelf and those ribbons, underneath that, you're pure spirit soul. So we step away from all that we were told we are, all that we've assimilated, that to be ourselves. Sometimes it's got to do with our job. Sometimes it's got our education, our parentage, the country, our political party, even a religion. We're not teaching a religion. We are Sanatan Dharmis. We're Sanatan Dharmis. We are teaching the eternal function of the soul. And what are we? We're souls. Even if you say I'm an atheist, you're not. You're a spirit soul that just calls himself an atheist. Everybody's a spirit soul. And therefore, this whole yoga system is a process of remembering what we forgot. And once we claim that identity, watch the magic happen. That's why Mara's life is so incredibly magical right now, because she's in the flow, right? She's in the bhakti flow.
Yeah. So what was the nugget again? Remind me. When you are looking out for people. Say it again.
When you have that
When
lens
you're
of
seeing
love,
through the eyes, lens of love.
you look out for
You
people.
look out for people.
And people. When you see the eyes through the
then-
fear, you look out for people.
Look out for people.
You look out. No, you look out for people. Right? They're trying to hurt me. They're trying to knock me off my pedestal. They want to be the number one chef.
The emphasis on.
They're going after my
taking
right.
them
They're
down.
going after my position. Nancy Rothman wants my job. Where's Nancy
We
Rothman
see-
today?
on the chat board, Chapu was asking. It's interesting question, Raghu. She says, "Is that a nugget? Who is it from?" You see that, Raghu? She wants that's good training right there, right?
You know what?
Who is
Because
it?
she's
What-
hanging out with
did someone
Nityananda
just
Chandra.
speculate this?
She's hanging out with
Oh, yeah,
Nityananda
we're gonna talk
Chandra.
about that.
Nityananda Chandra is our shloka study master, and he's coming on for our walk on Wednesday tomorrow, and he's going to bring on all the people that have been a handful of people that have been, including Chapu, who's been studying shlokas with him, and they're all going to recite their shlokas. So Chapu, you are about to get.
Chapu went viral for her beautiful. She went viral for her beautiful chanting. Like it was
really?
like our number one. We got the most hits on all of our Instagram things from Chapu's chanting.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Shlokas.
So she's probably trained, because devotees get trained. You don't just say stuff. What is their source? Like if you start
That's right.
saying some philosophy, so where would you hear that from? You can't just make stuff up. The yoga community is famous for making stuff up. I'm famous for making some stuff up, but there's a difference. There's a difference. The difference is I'm not going to say it if it's out of the lineage's philosophy. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I can quote Aristotle or Ben Franklin or Morrissey, but if the quote fits within the parameters of the Gaudiya Vaishnava teachings, then I'll quote it. You know, but I'm not going to
qualified to make that judgment call.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I mean, if it was a real, if it
You
was,
kind of,
yes, I do, sir.
I think you are qualified too. I was just playing with you, but
No, but
thank
if
you
it
for
was
that
something, let me share something with you. I'm writing a book right now, and it's put out by the publisher is Mandala. They put out Radhanath Swami's book, so the guy is a very astute businessman, and so who runs this beautiful company that puts out all these gorgeous books, and I'm going through it, and you know how I explain things. Not how regular, different than regular devotees explain things. And I'm explaining it in my own way and stuff like that. So what we're doing is we're hiring we have a team of editors that'll go through it, not just for punctuation and all my lousy writing, but also to make sure like the things I'm saying are philosophically correct. I explicitly asked for a philosophically correct editor who's going to understand the conclusion, the Vedanta, the conclusion of the Vedas. I don't want to say something that's off.
I hope they're going to pay that person extra because they got a lot of work to do, buddy. Just kidding. They won't have anything to do because it's all right on. As far as I see, you're always right on. I'm just kidding.
You guys. All right, so where we are at the Srimad Bhagavatam, looking out for people or look out for people?
We
I like
are
that.
looking out for a new chapter. We got. You know what we're going to do today, Raghunath?
Intermittent fasting.
No, maybe
No?
you are. We're gonna summarize a chapter because it's all perfect in Bhagavatam, but perhaps a better teacher would draw more out of this. But we've heard about creation several times already, and this chapter is going to go back into creation. It's going to give a quick summary of creation, but the point of this is because it's leading into the next chapter, which will
Give us the essence, Kaustubha. Be my cliff notes.
Okay, so this chapter opens up. We've heard this. There's three main sections in the third canto. Third canto is big. It's one of the larger cantos of the Bhagavatam. And it began with many chapters. I forget exactly how many, but they dealt with creation, how Lord Brahma creates, how there's the initial creation, then there's the secondary creation. And it's so important to understand that, because when you step back, when you zoom out, right, zoom the hell out,
Zoom the hell out.
and you look
we
back and
say
see
here.
how, zoom the hell out, see how the whole universe is created, all the different ingredients that go into it, it helps you understand, oh, I get it. As a spark of little spiritual energy, I've entered into this, and I'm given a body that all the ingredients were created by Lord Vishnu. The bodies were, assembled in a sense. At least the systems of that assembly were established by Lord Brahma. I was given false ego. I was given a mind. I was given a body to move about this virtual reality with. It really helps you understand that when you hear all this, the whole description of creation.
Yeah.
So there's a big chunk of the third canto is about creation. And then we heard a big chunk that it was all about Lord Varahadev, the boar, And now that's leading into this, now we're going into this next section, which is especially going to be about, well, let's say three characters. One is Kardama Muni, an incredible yogi. The other one is his wife, Devahuti, another incredible yogi, yogini, right?
Yogini.
And the third one is her son, which is Kapiladev, which is a avatar of Lord Vishnu. She's such a great yogi, the two that they gave birth to Lord Vishnu. And then the chapter the canto just plays out with Devahuti asking her son, the avatar of Vishnu, Kapiladev, so many questions about yoga, chapters about yoga, and Bhakti-yoga in particular.
So how is
And just
Kashyap?
incredibly beautiful instructions.
How is Kardama
Kardama?
Muni related to Kashyapa? So Kashyapa was married to Diti and Aditi. She was the mother of the demons. She gave birth to that tusk demon that fought the boar avatar. So how is Kardama related? They're both sons of Brahma, original sons of Brahma.
Kardama Muni would be like, Kardama is the husband of Devahuti, and Devahuti's sister is Prashuti, and Prashuti's daughter is Diti. So Kashyapa would be the uncle of Diti, and he would be the I don't know, what do you call, like, if you're married to someone, it's like your uncle-in-law, is that right? To Kashyapa.
Mara,
Sure, works for me.
You asked.
Okay. All right.
But we want, you see, the chapter ends with asking, Vidura is going to ask Maitreya, tell me about creation again. He's going to give it in a faster summary, and I'm going to summarize it here too. But then it leads to the creation of Manu, and Manu's daughter is Devahuti, who's going to marry Kardama Muni, and that's where this conversation is going to go. Okay. So in asking about the creation, it's going to be summarized that the first thing that enters into the creation are these different aspects of ignorance. Brahma has to create ignorance because every living being that enters, it's a virtual reality. When you enter into virtual reality, like when you plug in the goggles, the point is you're accepting illusion as truth, right?
Ooh, I like that.
And okay, so as the living beings, okay, so as we enter into this body and into this world, in a sense, to buy into the illusion, we need ignorance, right? We need to think it's real. And so he creates ignorance, and it says that these different aspects of ignorance, there's tamas, which is the condition of not knowing about the spirit soul, not knowing that I'm a soul, right? There's tamishra, hatred or anger. There's anda tamishra, absorption in material pleasure, or also could be defined as considering death to be the ultimate end. And then there's moha, which means egoism, or the illusion of the bodily conception of life. And then there's something called maha moha, attachment, right? Attachment to material things, or even more literally, to be mad after material enjoyment. And so
Maha moha. That's a great one. That's a great one.
Maha
Mara.
We're
Mara.
Mahamoha
Mahamoha.
We're Mahamoha from Madison, Wisconsin. Mahamoha?
Mahamoha. It could be like a metal band.
Okay.
Mahamoha.
At least a song.
Song. Okay, this one's called
So
Mahamoha.
then
1, 2, 3, 4.
So then he starts to now that all that illusory kind of influences have been created within the universe. Then he starts to create all different kind of beings. Next come the yakshas and the rakshasas. These are like, they get into the Mahamoha, you know. And that's described in the chapter how like they're kind of mad for material enjoyment. And then he creates the devatas, those more saintly beings, those, you know, those more law-abiding kind of, upholders of goodness, you know, and of dharma. And then he creates the adevas, or you could say the daityas, or you could say the asuras. Then they're created. So now you got like a good and an evil thing going on within the universe.
All the archetypes, the classic archetypes of the video game, you know, of the Star Wars episode. You know, you got the heroes, the villains, the heroines, the mystics.
That's the reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get all that. Yeah, you're going to get... Next, you get the Gandharvas and the Apsaras. I don't know if they're in any video games.
Something.
But they're like... Yeah, they're like holy, higher...
Angels.
More highly elevated beings.
Angel beings.
You could say like that. Yeah, they're talented, right? Musically, and they're very beautiful. Apsaras are very beautiful. Gandharvas very talented, right?
Yeah.
Then come you're going to like this, Raghu, the bhutas and the pisachas, the ghosts and the fiends.
Well, I was just thinking, like, whenever we see pictures of aliens, they all look very gruesome, like bhutas and pishatas. And, you know, like if I have to picture some like creepy critter coming and landing on a spaceship, they all look the same. They all draw the aliens the same, right? Why don't we see the Gandharvas and these beautiful angels? They're aliens too. They don't want to come anymore. We're living in a ghetto here on Earth.
Yeah.
So all the beautiful people aren't visiting. We're just getting the creeps, the creepy critters showing up, trying to beam us up, probing us, taking away our memory, leaving us in a field. It happens, Kaustubha, repeatedly. It's a Google search away.
What happened to you?
Not me, but I've met people.
You know, I'm an alien. Okay. But but there may be higher ones that we're not even aware of, Raghunath. So keep that in mind too, right? So you got the bhutas and the pisachas. Then you got the siddhas and the vidyadharas.
Perfected beings.
Perfected beings. They got power, yogic powers and stuff.
Did you ever hear the statement by
Purushas as well?
Did you ever hear the statement by Prabhupada? Someone said, "Where do the followers of Jesus go?" And he said, "To Jesus's planet."
I've heard something like that.
You know, like he could have been a siddha, perfected being, and he brings people to perfected, heaven. That's what a heaven is. These are heavens. They're higher places, better than this place. There's just, I'm speculating, but that's what I've heard. Okay. Continue on, my friend.
Then there's the Kim Purushas and Kinnaras. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember what they're all about.
Species of higher beings, basically.
Okay.
Higher in intelligence, higher in beauty.
I could have put that.
Higher in mystical powers. I know. I don't know what they do, but
you know what comes next? The Nagas.
Lower beings, intellectually superior, I think, but they're sort of reptilian beings. These are true, by the way. I'm a joker, but this is true. There's planets of these beings, reptilian beings. They're atheistic. They're like technologically evolved, and they're mystical.
They all atheistic?
Yeah. No, there's three. There's three famous ones that are not. One is Ananta, the snakes over the head. Vasuki, who was used for the churning of the ocean of milk. And the third one, can you name the third one, Mara?
No, I was
drawing a blank.
looking up Wikipedia on Kinnaras. I did get some info.
Oh, thank you.
All right, look good. You saved me
Okay,
because
what
I
did
can't
you
remember the
like to
third
know?
one either.
Listen to this. A Kanara is a celestial musician, part human and part bird.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia says.
What
And
about
that
the
usually is the
Kimpurushas?
gold standard.
What was your question, Kastub?
Kimpurushas.
While
K-I-M.
she's looking that one up, my son Rocco said Kalia might be considered a pious
He's a
Naga.
Naga.
A pious one because he did have the feet of Lord Krishna on his head. And there's other pastimes the Bhagavatam says where Krishna rode Kalia just like Vishnu rides Garuda. It's in the purports.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You think about that? Another pious Naga.
Great. Okay, then you have, and this is important, and this is where the chapter is going to, the last two are the Manus. So the Manus, they promote welfare activities throughout the universe. They got big responsibility. So now he's created all these different beings. The scene is probably pretty chaotic. Then you got the Manus, and the Manus are they're gonna teach Dharma, right? They're gonna establish the laws, right?
It's
They're
where we
very
get the
helpful beings.
English word man from. They're the founders of like
Yeah.
mankind as we know it. Mara, when you're done with that looking up, can you look up Nagas? Because I think Naga word. I'm just saying this because I think Naga word. It's a popular word, and I think these Nagas are worshipped in many cultures. There's even a jiu-jitsu match called the Naga competition. I'm thinking maybe they got it from some Japanese name or something.
Okay, would you like the info about the Kimpurushas?
Please.
Yes, please.
Let's see. They were first to the exotic tribes of ancient India. They lived in inaccessible regions of the Himalaya mountains. They're described to be lion-headed beings.
What?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I'm buying into the Wikipedia thing, but
maybe not.
Yeah,
The lion head may be an exaggeration of their heavily bearded head, it also suggests.
Okay, you see?
In some Puranas, they were mentioned as horse-headed. And they could be a tribe of horse warriors like the Kambojas.
It's a lot of speculation over there on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
They don't. Let's face it. They don't know what they're talking about. We need the Puranic encyclopedia.
We
Actually,
need
maybe if you Google
Amarendra. Amarendra
Puranic-
would know this stuff.
Yeah, Amarendra.
Amarendra, he specializes in this stuff. You know what? I'm going to ask him about the universe. I'm going to ask him about higher species. I'm going to ask him about higher planets. I'm going to ask him about lower planets. I've got so many, and I'm going to talk to him right after the show today.
And particularly about lower planets is what you're interested in. The snakes and those things fascinate you. Subterranean.
It's
heavenly planets.
interesting. The Bhagavatam talks about it. Why not? Okay, Mara, did you find any info on Nagas?
But do this. Ask him if he knows about Kimpurushas, and tomorrow we'll find out if he had anything for us.
Matt Godden wrote on the board, sorry to disappoint. The jiu-jitsu tournament called Naga is North American Grappling Association. I thought it was something much more mystical.
You thought it was a Krishna miracle. Well, there you go.
All right, forget it, Mara. You're
Sorry to disappoint.
There's a jiu-jitsu snake ritual. Before they fight, they worship the snakes. Okay, let's carry on, Kaustubha. Enlighten us.
No, Mara had some. Did you have some for us? Are we done?
Do you guys want more info on Nagas?
Yes. Okay.
Let's see. A member of a class of mythical semi-divine beings, half human and half cobra.
Mythical.
They are a strong, handsome species who can assume either wholly human or wholly serpentine form, and are potentially dangerous but often beneficial to humans.
Shapeshifters. Yes. Yeah. So says the demons who want us to worship them. It sounds like devil speak if you were to ask my mom.
Well, it's going to get, but it's going to get more like pious right now. Then Manu shows up, right? Manu's like, hey, we need some order in the universe. We're going to establish some laws of Dharma. People are going to have to follow them, or there'll be consequences to pay. But if you follow them, you elevate yourself. Right?
Now,
So
Manu wrote these books, which are quite amazing. They're like these law books of mankind. In the same way you would, lawyers understand, traffic law, divorce law, felonies, etc. Like Manu wrote the law books for humankind and what type of activity gives you what type of karma, how to counteract activity. It's have you ever read the book of Manu?
I've perused it before.
Oh my God, it's like the most peculiar book in the world, like how to counteract sin. But it's something that we don't necessarily follow in bhakti because we just sort of like regulate our senses and move forward with our connection to spiritual life. It's not trying to like play whack-a-mole with my bad choices.
This becomes a big topic as we enter the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, right? Because again, Bhagavatam is there to clarify all these things. There's these texts about like how to counteract your bad karma, right?
Sure.
And the term for that is prayaschitta, and that's something that's taught in the Vedas, because the Vedas are concerned like, I want to live in this world and accumulate good karma and enjoy good karma and not suffer the effects of bad karma. So if I've done something that's going to bring me bad karma, how can I counteract that? But we see like right at the beginning of the Bhagavatam,
Bhagavad Gita.
Maharaj Pariksit, well, I was going to say at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Maharaj Pariksit, he does something wrong, right? He puts a snake on a sadhu's shoulders, right? And then he gets a reaction for that, the curse of the boy sage Shringi. But he doesn't try to counteract it. He accepts it, right? Bring it on, right?
Bring it on.
I behaved in a way that I shouldn't have. I'm getting the reaction. I'm not trying to circumvent it. I accept how this world moves as it's for my benefit, right? And so, this topic comes up at the beginning of the 6th canto, where the idea of prayaschitta is brought up, but it's explained that even when you counteract your bad karma, because you haven't gone to the root of it, the same kind of behavior and mentality is there. It's just going to spring up again. Whereas when you practice bhakti yoga, you're getting right down to the core of your misconceptions, right? The core of your attachments that are born of illusion. And it's like taking that weed, and rather than just chopping it at the top and it continues to grow, which is like prayaschitta or counteracting bad karma, you pull the weed out at the root, right?
Great.
You eliminate that from your consciousness.
Great point. There's different ways to garden. And one way is where you just pinch off the top of the plant, some of the things where you prune the plant, some is when you uproot the entire weed. And when we look at what we call Hinduism or these Sanatan Dharmis, people are following this, people east of the Sindhu River, practicing all these Vedic rites. It's basically to find some better alternative than my normalized bad choices. And it's to get my big fat ego right out of the center, or which is a conception that I'm the center of the universe. There's no God in control. That's materialism. I'm part of something bigger. That's our first step towards spiritualism. Asking our higher power for a better situation and acting appropriately, that's a step up. And a lot of what we understand with like the worship of the gods and the demigods and the counteracting karma and prayaschitta. By the way, Mara, that's a good Sanskrit. Sanskrit. What do we call it? Sanskrit
glossary goodie.
Sanskrit glossary goodie.
Sanskrit.
Glossary
said
goodie.
that with a straight face. It's called the Sanskrit glossary goodie.
Can you put on that aboard? Prayaschitta. It means you're sort of like you did something bad and you counteract the bad with something good. You did something.
A follower of the Vedas may think that way. A follower of the Bhagavatam doesn't think that way.
Yeah, the Bhagavatam puts it in perspective, because there is levels of betterness in this planet, right? On this planet, there's good reaction we can get. And then there's even higher planets. There's mystical powers that you can arise to. And a lot of people, a lot of yoga systems follow that path. That's why it's very confusing. If you're just walking in the door and you don't even, you ever walk into Target and you're like, what are they selling here? And they're like selling everything. They're selling like bananas. They're selling T-shirts and sweatshirts. They're selling perfume. They're selling, you got tires sometimes, car tires in the back. It's like they're selling everything. But in Bhakti, it's saying, actually, we're not trying to like work our way into better real estate, Richard O., better real estate of the material world. We're trying to get the hell out of the material world. We're trying to transcend Walmart. We're lost in Walmart, going to different directions. This is a bad section of Walmart. I'm going to go to the other. The whole material world is Walmart. And in bhakti, it may look the same. You see a sadhu who's into karmakanda or prayaschitta or going to higher planets. They look the same. They're wearing the robes. They have a beard or they have a shaved head. They have tilak on their forehead. But in bhakti, we want out. We accept that this material world, whether it's great or miserable, is temporary. We accept that there is no enemy for the soul, that nothing belongs to us here. And I'm not going to do some ritual to get to a better place. I'm going to transcend this completely. And we find that it works good. We find that, in our land of consumption, we realize there's nothing else to consume in this world that's going to satisfy my heart. Come on.
So what you're saying is that if you look at all this yoga literature, all this Vedic literature, you got the Vedas, you got the Puranas, you got the Upanishads, you got the Mahabharata, and all of that, it's like a huge supermarket. It's like a big Target. And you know what, Raghunath?
Walmart's
we're
better.
All lost in the supermarket.
Yeah, he's quoting the Jam now. He's quoting the Jam. No one knows that.
That's not the Jam. That's the Clash, Bubba.
That's a cover song.
It's a Clash.
It's a cover song from the Jam, man. Get
No,
Parmananda on here.
What are you coming? Get
Parmananda.
We can clear this up.
Mara, can you search that up? Lost in the supermarket.
If I were a gambling man, there you go. Lori Pags on it. Raghunath, come on. You're a punk rock legend, and you're screwing this up.
Raga, you're wrong. The Clash song.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Shoot. All right, forget it.
Thank you, Parmananda.
Can someone look if the Jam wrote it first,
come on.
please?
That's a Clash. They didn't. Joe Strummer wrote it, as Greg Gasu was pointing out. But we are all lost in the supermarket, right? It's hard to figure it all out. How do you get out? How do you get out? You get out through the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam makes it all clear. And so Bhagavatam to say, yes, it is valid. There is a way to counteract your bad karma. But what's the point? If you don't deal with the darkness that's within you that's caused those reactions, it's just going to come back again and again and again. So let's get to the very core of it, right? Let's reconnect with our source. Let's purify our mind, our consciousness through yoga with the intention not to enjoy this world in a better, but the intention to transcend it and to reconnect with that divine source through pure love, connect with every living being. Then
I get it. They're all ganging up on me now. Yeah, they're all ganging up.
Everybody's on.
But you know what? I like this analogy. And I'm going to use Walmart.
Supermarket.
I'm not going to say Target. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say Walmart, because Walmart does have tires.
Fair enough.
They have bananas and cornflakes, and they have hoodies and shoes, and we're lost. And there's different sections, and we got to get the hell out of here. Okay. All right. Carry on, my wayward son.
People are sending you Wikipedia links about the song, Raghunath.
Even Shanaz Om is ganging up on me. They're all taking shots at me now. Hit me when I'm down, people. It's okay.
Right. Okay. All right. So, So we said that Manu was born, right? Manu was created. The Manus were created. And then the last creation mentioned here in this very kind of short summary of creation were the great sages. That Brahma created the great sages as his beloved sons. And the last text of this chapter says, to each one of these sons, the unborn creator, Lord Brahma, of the universe, gave part of his own body. Which and remember, his body is like this subtle, it's not like our body, right? It's not this our bodies are really disgusting compared to the body of someone like Brahma. He's got this subtle body made of subtle energy. But he, in some sense, he gave he gave a part of his own body to each of his sons. And he says it's characterized by deep meditation, mental concentration, supernatural power, austerity, adoration, and renunciation. This is what the sages were embodying. Okay? Who were some of those sages that were the sons of Brahma?
I tell you right now, Brigu. Let's see who can get it faster, me or Mara. Ready? Brigu. Aitri. Vishwamitra. Shista. You just got to go through yoga poses. There are the Saptarishis.
Was Vishwamitra? I don't believe Vishwamitra, but Vashishta for sure.
Vashista. Oops.
Yeah. Angira, Pulastia,
Puletsia.
Pulaha, Atreya, Kratu, Brigu. You mentioned Brigu.
Ratu. Brigu.
And
I
of
said
course, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras,
Brigu. Nard.
and perhaps
Nard.
and Nard, Marichi.
Marichi.
Yeah, there are many.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so these are all sons of Lord Brahma, and particularly through Atri and Marichi come the lineages that we're going to hear so much in Bhagavatam. But on the other side, there's Swayambhuva Manu. So there's Manu, and then there's these sages. And from Manu, he's going to marry a woman named Satarupa, and they're going to give birth to 3 sons and 2 daughters. And from those sons and daughters come so much, especially the rest of the 3rd and the 4th canto are going to come down through them. The different characters that we're going to be hearing about.
We don't have any Indians on the show today, do we? What happened to our Indians?
Well, we need an Indian correspondent.
We need an Indian
We got a
correspondent.
DT
You got a DT back here. Who was the other guy that was always on the show?
What about
Aravind,
Arvind
Prabhu.
Aravind.
what happened to Arvind?
Krishna Drew.
Where's our lip syncer?
Our lip
Madhumati.
syncer is not
Where's
here,
she? Is she here
Madhumati.
today?
Now, the beautiful thing about these Indians is they can name their bloodline. And they'll say, yeah, my Gotra is Atri. My Gotra is Gautam. My Gotra is Brigu. It's unbelievable. Like even Henry will say, even Henry will talk about his ancestors coming from Germany on the Mayflower. He'll name him 300.
Like you're mixing up a little history there, but I don't think the Mayflower came from Germany. But okay. I mean, if the Jam can write "All Lost in the Supermarket," I guess the Germans could have come over on the Mayflower.
Germans had a Mayflower. Oh, now my son's laughing at me. Everybody's taking shots at me today. Well, my point is, even Henry talks about having a family crest coming down for a few hundred years, and these guys are thousands of years into their family lineage.
Yeah. But
it's quite unbelievable.
These Gotras in India go back
to Brahma. To Brahma.
I mean, they go back. They go back.
It just didn't get older than that.
To describe it. Yeah. Not in this universe. Okay. All right. Should we start the next chapter?
Please.
There's not a lot of time today, but we can start it, I think. Yeah. So now we begin chapter 21 of the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this chapter is entitled Conversations between Conversations between you want to say it? You can say it.
No, we have a lag, so that's what's going on.
Right. So you go ahead and say it.
Okay, conversations between Manu and Kardama.
Yeah. Kardama Muni. So again, Kardama we're going to be introduced to him. He's like this incredible yogi. Still, he's got a bit of material desire. He wants a good wife, but he's not out of control. He just wants a good wife.
Reasonable.
But he's an incredibly powerful yogi. Yeah, and so he's going to end up marrying Devahuti, who is the son of the daughter of Manu, and that'll the whole rest of the 3rd canto. We're in chapter 21, and altogether there are, let's see, there are 33 chapters. So
imagine having Manu as your father-in-law. What are you guys doing for? What are you doing for Christmas? What are you doing for Christmas this year? We're going to my father-in-law's, Manu. He wrote all the law books of the universe. Don't screw up.
And he keeps pressuring us. He keeps pressuring us to have children. It's like you think like you're Jewish or you're telling your mother's on your case about having kids. Manu's like, we need you to produce progeny more
for the universe,
species,
for the entire universe,
for the universe. Yeah, get busy. Okay, so let me pull this up.
By the way, that's a whole interesting topic. Let's talk. We should talk to Amarendra about progeny giving birth to different species. What's that about?
I mean, it's your fascination.
It's not yours.
Fascination.
How is that not everybody's fascination? The fact that a woman can give birth to different species, you don't find that fascinating?
We don't all think the same way, but how do they give birth? Again, I think we have to keep this in mind. when
Yeah.
we think of our own bodies, we have experience with a certain type of body that's made out of certain types of ingredients.
That's a
But
good
these
point.
beings on these higher planets, it's a completely different type of body, right?
Yeah.
It's capable of doing things that our bodies can't do. It's made out of a far more subtle kind of energy than our bodies are made out of. So, like we've seen already, Brahma, he created just through his thoughts.
You got a good point here. It's not like when I'm born, there's blood coming out. There's like other liquids coming out of my mother.
Yeah.
I'm covered in blood,
like
and other things. It's not probably happening. It's not happening like that with the higher beings.
Yeah, it's a different type of body.
It's not like they're just giving birth to puppies.
And that's not to say that I understand all this, but at least I understand that much, right?
You know what? I've got a lot of questions for Amarendra. If you have questions for Amarendra too, write them into Mara and say, questions for the guest on the subject line. Questions for this guest. We have a real Bhagavatam scholar, a young pundit. Love this guy. Coming up Sunday. Questions for the guest. Write them into wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And I'm going to pick his brain.
All
right. You ready for this?
I bet even he knows that the Clash did all Lost in the Supermarket.
He's never heard the Clash.
That was the
it was not the jam, Prabhu.
That song was written by Joe Strummer.
And Mick Jones assisted him.
And Mick Jones. Prabhu, please.
I grew up listening to Jagjit Singh, but still I am knowing.
But even I know.
But I am
Paul Weller had nothing to do with it whatsoever.
The jam. Right. Oh, Raghunath Prabhu, you're in so much Maya. All right, let's continue this. You want to ready? Vidura said,
all right.
The line of Swayambhuva Manu was most esteemed. O worshipful sage, I beg you, give me an account of this race, whose progeny multiplied through sexual intercourse. The two great sons of Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrata and Uttanapad, ruled the world, consisting of 7 islands, just according to religious principles, just according to Dharma.
Yeah. So those are the two sons of Swayambhuva Manu were mentioned in this verse. Right? We'll hear about the daughters.
What are the 7 islands? The 7 continents?
Yes.
Really? They've ruled Australia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, holy Okay. Oh, holy Brahmana.
But hold on. I was saying the two sons of Swayambhuva Manu are mentioned here, Priyavrata and Uttanapad. And the 4th cantos will really be going, and even into the 5th canto, we're going to be hearing about the descendants of Priyavrata and Uttanapad. Uttanapad's son, who becomes extremely important in Bhagavatam, would be Raghu Hatsi. Who?
Oh, Dhruva.
Dhruva, right? Dhruva becomes just a boy yogi, another incredible yogi in this family. This family's got a lot of great yogis. And
child yogi. You could call him a prodigy. Child prodigy, right, Mary?
Definitely could. Yeah, definitely could.
Thumbs up.
And from him, there'll be a lot of other characters coming down. King Prachini Barhi and the Prachetas are going to come. Daksha is going to appear in this line. Actually, in his second birth, after he gets killed, he's going to come back into that line again.
In case you forgot who that is, he's the man who got his head cut off and replaced with the head of a goat.
It happens.
It sometimes happens.
Yes. And then from Priyavrata, again, there'll be other important characters like Rishabdev will come through his lineage. Bharat himself, who India is named after, and the Mahabharata is named after, and the Pandavas and so on all come in line with. And the 9 Yogendras are going to be born in that lineage, and Jadabharta, Jadabharta will be there, born in that lineage. So a lot of fascinating stories are coming out of those 2 sons. A lot of incredible descendants and great stories in the Bhagavatam.
Kaustubha, you are a walking encyclopedia. of Vedic knowledge.
Well, I got the Srimad Bhagavatam family tree right in front of me. If you
Oh,
just
that.
Google Srimad Bhagavatam family tree, you think I got all this stuff in my memory?
Yeah, I was like, man, this guy is a genius. How can he?
He's
How does he
almost
roll?
like Armor
He's just-
Ranger. Not
he's-
quite.
He's
like
just
a-
rolling stuff
He's
off.
a dented Armor Ranger.
He's like dented. You're dented Armor Ranger, Prabhu.
Very dented. He's got a little bit of Armor Ranger, but he's still got the Clash and the jam.
It's sort of like he's a little bit saintly. He's a little bit punk rock. Remember that song? Country rock and roll.
I do, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's Donnie Marie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Donnie
Marie. That was a great show, by the way. All right. How many?
It wasn't Raghu.
It was at the time. You can't hold things for what they were now, up to a standard of nowness to what they were, right, Mara?
Even in its 70s context, that was a terrible show.
Prabhu, come on.
Actually,
it had
who
music,
am I
it
to
had
judge?
dancing,
Who am I
it
to
had
judge?
comedy. Come on, give it a cut some slack.
Pageantry.
Pageantry.
It had pageantry.
All right. How many
One more verse for today.
How many offspring did the great yogi beget?
No. Text 3.
Oh, holy Brahmana, oh sinless one, you have spoken of his daughter, known by the name Devahuti, as the wife of the sage Kardama, the lord of created beings. How many offspring?
Okay, so let's stop.
Okay.
No, so let's go to how many offspring.
Tomorrow.
How many offspring? You're so. We could have saved this whole thing for arranged marriage Tuesday, because that's what's going to happen, right? Devahuti and Kardama are going to have an arranged marriage, and from them will come Lord Kapila Dev, right?
All right.
And from just through the, I'm telling you, Raghu, the conversation between Devahuti and Kapila Dev, it's all building up to that, and this goes back. We're right now. What sage level? We're at sage level 3, right? We're hearing the conversation between Maitreya and the Dura. But this is all tying in. If we go back to sage level 1, right? And you have the sages at Naimisharanya. They've gathered there together. They've established that Sutta Goswami is the most learned and saintly among them. And they're placing questions before them. And essentially those questions are, tell us the essence of, people, basically what they're saying, this is what they're saying. They're saying, Sutta Goswami, we're all lost in the supermarket, right? We've got all of Vyasa's, you see? We got all of Vyasa's works, but we don't know what's most essential. We're lost, right?
What do I purchase? Tell me.
Yeah. And so they're saying, what's the essence of Vyasadev's literature, all that Vedic literature, and how does the living being find? And they use this term, important term. This should be. I think this is even better. Sanskrit. What is it? Sanskrit goody. Sanskrit glossary goody. Sanskrit glossary goody. He uses the term Atma supersidity. How will we find complete satisfaction of the soul? And then in the beginning of the second chapter of the first canto of the Bhagavatam, which is a totally essential chapter to understand, it's an incredible summary of everything. He answers that question that's saying Atma supersidity comes through bhakti. That bhakti is the parodharma, is the highest dharma. So in order to fill that out and explain why bhakti is so special, the conversation between Devahuti and Kapila is going to explain so much of that. It's going to explain so much about yoga. It's going to explain so much about bhakti yoga. And that's why they're talking about it on stage level 3.
Imagine if Prabhupada didn't come to America, his bhakti masters, and instead we met some yogi who's teaching about mystical powers. And we'd be, now, you and me lived in a mystical power ashram. And now we'd be having this whole Zoom class, this whole podcast. Like, the goal is to get mystical powers. Of course it is. What are you doing? You want to do more with your life? Live your potential. Learn how to levitate. You got to take this stuff seriously, people. It says so right here in the mystical, handbook written by whomever.
Let's talk about that tomorrow, because Prabhupada's going to have some some commentaries that are getting to exactly what you're talking about. I've seen groups that were trying to levitate and they bounced around on mattresses.
Yes.
and
Do you remember that?
They really weren't levitating at all,
I
right?
think they were Maharishi's
Yeah,
people.
I do
They're-
remember that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so Prabhupada will talk about that kind of thing tomorrow. So let's leave it there.
It's very
And
interesting.
Mara, you got anything for us today?
You got
I do.
anything we can put in our pocket?
I know there's
little
I know there's
takeaways,
a
a little
lot
note?
about Raghunath screwing up this Clash Jam kind of thing. I know.
I
there's
know.
a
You know, I
lot on the
wasn't
chat
happy
board
about
that.
You know, yeah.
You can touch on that, but don't dwell on it too much.
I'll
Okay?
try not to.
No hashtags.
If I have an enemy, I have a problem.
Ooh, Mom.
Accept your karma and curses as being for your benefit. We are all lost in the supermarket.
There you go.
There's nothing we can consume in this world that will satisfy our heart.
Boom. Booyah.
Transcend Walmart. Learn
Please.
Okay.
learn to look with love.
The look
Let's
of love.
Yeah.
Who wrote that one? earlier?
Liquid love or look with love?
Learn to look with love.
Oh. Okay.
Look with love. That was your nugget that you created.
You
The
don't
look-
like it anymore.
Have you ever heard of ABC, the band? The look of love.
You got that one right, and you screwed up. The Clash. What does this tell us about this Ray Capo, New York hardcore legend? I'm trying to.
I
put it
have
all
different.
together.
There's different facets of this personality, man, that you got to get to know.
Apparently.
He liked
Apparently.
dance and new wave, 90s dance, new wave.
Okay.
All right. The last one I have is Bhakti completely satisfies the heart.
Let's end it
Yeah.
right there.
Let's end it right there. That's
Yeah,
good.
Crank up the music.
I want
right?
to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody except those who took shots at me for not understanding that the Clash wrote that song. Those people, I'm resenting. I'm gonna hold. I'm thinking of revenge and how to
Raghunath,
get
that's
back to you.
everybody. You're gonna.
I'm gonna get back at all of you.
have
I'm
to
gonna
let
show
go.
you. I'm gonna have to show you guys who's in charge here. How dare you question me and try to take me down in front of everybody? I'll never forget all those names on the board. Shanaz, Om, Matt Godin made me look stupid with that snake reference. Who else am I mad at today? The Mayflower, Kaustubha and the Mayflower thing. I'm still upset about that. Mara just lifting her eyebrows now and then, just like, oh, here he goes again. I got issues with Mara.
Chapu was
Chapu.
challenging you right off the bat about your nugget.
She was challenging my nugget, Chapu. I'm having a miserable day, and I'm going to resent all of you, and I'm going to spitefully carry this burden around with me. But I'll show you. I'm not going to go down without a fight. The mentality, huh? Thanks, everybody.
Let it go. We just gotta let it go.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Tomorrow's Walk on Wednesday. We're going to hear from the Sanskrit pundits. We're very excited about that. Nityananda Chandra and friends. Then we have our great guest, Amarendra, this week.
Great.
If you have any questions for us, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. You can give your questions in for Question Day, Saturday, or for our guest, right? Special. If you got a special Bhagavatam question, go right for our guest. Put it in the subject, guest. And if you want to support what we're doing, we love support. We need support. We're dependent and can't exist without your support. So you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/wisdom of the sages, because we are a community supported podcast and you're the community. Thank you guys. Love doing this. Even I'll do it on the side of the road. My kids are starving. They're like, please feed us. I was like, no, it's Bhagavatam time. If you want to eat, let them pay. Give more money. Also this weekend, I hope I see you at Yoga Bohemia, Long Beach Island. Fun in the sun. Kirtan with me and Manu and a bunch of other fun bhakti stuff. I'm going to sign out here because no one's even dancing like they should be.
No,
yet.
hold it.